6:35 on Tuesday, March 23rd. A quorum is present with a member online. And the Minnesota Senate Education Policy Committee will now come to order. Today, we will have a walkthrough of Amendment 3 for Senate File 3870 and Amendment 2 for Senate File 4510. Following the walkthroughs, we have a lot of testimony today. Before we get to that, we have some wonderful students that members of this committee have invited to speak to us today. Before we get to that, on the semi-quincentennial for my 2 minutes of civics with SWAD or whatever we're calling this, you'll notice that up there is the Declaration of Independence, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours, on July 4th, 1776. Maybe you're familiar with Stevie Wonder's song, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. It has nothing to do with the Declaration of Independence, but nonetheless, he would have referenced it. It's made up of 4 parts, and I hope everybody knows this. As you read the Declaration of Independence, and one of the things this committee's toying with is requiring school this year on July 4th, and all of your vacations and fireworks plans might go away if we have you come to school. I don't know where the money's coming from, but we'll find it. If the local community leaders aren't celebrating in what we consider to be a sufficient manner, we might have all the kids in the state of Minnesota, all 900,000 of them, attend school on the 4th. And what we'll do with you that day is walk you through the 4 parts of the Declaration. And the first part's called the preamble, and it begins with the words, when in the course of human events. Think about those wondrous, magical words, when in the course of human events. And the second paragraph, we hold these truths to be self-evident. All men are created equal. They're endowed by the Creator, so on and so forth. That's the new theory of government, that Jefferson and the framers were toying with the idea that this place called America would have a new place where everybody could reap the benefits of a government. And then it's followed by 27 grievances. And then comes the final declaration where the end says we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Signed by 56 delegates. There were 57 people there that day. One of them was a relative of mine, Cwodzinski, and he wasn't allowed to sign it because the pen ran dry. And so there would have been 57, I'm making that part up, sorry. But nonetheless, those 56 signers, 5 of them were captured, 9 of them died in battle, and a dozen of them lost everything, their property, their homes. So when they said on a piece of paper, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor, they weren't kidding. They weren't messing around. This document has stood the test of time for 250 years. Happy semi-quincentennial as we move forward. And our testifiers are ready to come up. And first is Natalia. So when the students come up, say your name and where you go to school and maybe what senator sent you here, or you came on behalf of.
Members of the committee, my name is Natalia Yuriko, and I'm a junior at Minnetonka High School. Thank you for the opportunity for me to share my educational experience with you today. My favorite part of school is the opportunities I have beyond the traditional classroom. One program that has deeply shaped my educational experience is the Vantage Advanced Professional Studies program. I'm part of the public policy strand, and each student is paired with a professional mentor. I have the privilege of meeting monthly with a Minnesota senator who serves as my mentor. That mentorship has been one of the most meaningful experiences of my K-12 education. Every high school student deserves access to mentorship opportunities like this. The most exciting part of my school day is AP Seminar on CIS American Democracy. These courses emphasize research, collaboration, and project-based learning. They give students a choice. For example, I worked with an agriculture company to draft policies around sustainable school energy. When students are trusted to explore their interests, learning becomes purposeful. I'm deeply grateful for my education. However, as a youth mental health advocate, if I could change one thing about education in Minnesota, it would be ensuring stronger mental health support systems in every school. I appreciate the progress made in the teacher training and increased counseling resources, but it is not the same as having a licensed mental health professional accessible in every school building. The pressures facing students today, including social media, artificial intelligence, and rising academic expectations, are complex and growing. If we want students to thrive academically, we must ensure that they are supported emotionally. Thank you for your leadership and your commitment to Minnesota students.
Thank you. Next up is Adam. Adam and Efferson. Thank you, sorry. And when you two are ready, begin and say where you live and on behalf of what senator are you here today?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. They are pretty much going to stick to the script. They're really excited, though. So, would you like to start, honey?
Thank you, Chair Cwodzinski and Ranking Member Mom. My name is Adam, and I'm a kindergartner at a really cool STEM school here in Minnesota.
And I'm Everson in first grade at the same school.
Our school is super special. It's the first one in Minnesota to get national certification from the National Institute from STEM Education. That means every single teacher, not just the science or math ones, is trained to teach STEM. We use science, technology, engineering, and math and everything, even in gym class and art and playtime and smart lab. It's so much fun. I love learning how science is part of the whole world. I hope every kid in Minnesota can have as much fun learning STEM as I do someday.
Our school feels like a second home. The teachers really love us and know our families. If something is hard, they help us right away. Everyone knows our names. The staff can even tell Adam's identical twin brothers apart. I think schools should care about each kid like this. It helps my generation do great things. My parents work really hard and give up a lot so I can go here. I hope we can make every school feel this loving and caring for every student. Thank you so much for working to make Minnesota schools better.
Good job, guys.
You can applaud today. And we'll applaud again after the student speakers. Mabel and Luna, one's online. Mabel's on remote. Mabel, if you could introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Mabel.
Begin.
All right, Mr. Chair and members of the committee, my name is Mabel Goslin and I'm a senior at Anoka High School through the Anoka-Hennepin School District. Thank you so much for taking the time to hear from students today. At the start of my freshman year, I knew I wanted to end my high school career having tried every opportunity and having learned as much as possible. I found success in so many nooks and crannies of the education system, from participating in extracurriculars like volleyball and speech, to my academic success at the University of Minnesota and on my AP tests. At Anoka, there are so many opportunities available to us. Our teachers and administrators work tirelessly to ensure that every student feels valued and included in these experiences, and without them, I would have never been able to succeed. My time in high school has been highly exploratory as I've tried to figure out what I want to do in the real world. And throughout, I've relied heavily on our college and career counselor, our school counselors, and teachers close to me to help me navigate both the education system and the world outside of it. I've asked for advice about my coursework at the U of M and even asked which jobs I should apply to. I cannot express how valuable the insight of Anoka's staff has been. I've sent many emails after hours spiraling about the future, and they're always there to pick me back up in the morning. Despite this, I know our educators put in a lot of late nights. Past their brave faces, the stress of their jobs strains them. From hurried lesson plans to backlogs of emails, they have so much on their plate. I come from a family of teachers myself, and I can see firsthand in my own home how the stress of teaching leaks into their everyday lives. Our educators are tired. These past few years, our school staff have served as our first line of defense. We've relied on them through the pandemic, and more recently through ICE's surge into the Twin Cities. They have organized food shelves, counseled kids in crisis, and maybe most crucially, they've been there to listen. Because of the effects of the pandemic and our increasingly digitalized world, my peers and I need more support. Suicide rates are still rising, and the mental health crisis is persisting. We need more teachers, more counselors, more therapists, and more administrators to help us through these difficult times. If I could change anything about education in Minnesota, it would be first, to ensure that every school has access to the amazing support staff that I have, and second, to make sure there are enough educators to carry the weight of the important work they do. Thank you all again for making the time to listen to student perspectives today. We appreciate it.
Mr. Chair.
Wait till your second speaker's done.
I just want to comment how amazing the Anoka students are. So, thank
Go
you,
ahead.
Mr. Chair.
We'll take time for that now. Begin.
Is this on? Okay. Hello, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. I'm here on behalf of Senator Abley. My name is Luna Hernandez, and I'm a 10th grader at Coon Rapids High School. As a sophomore, I have ample time to enjoy school. What I enjoy most about it are the people. I'm in 6 extracurriculars and spend my time volunteering and talking with friends. I love to connect with others. It drives me to be and do better for myself and my community. Something I love about my school is our biomedical sciences program. CLHS is a Project Lead the Way distinguished high school. We are one of 208 schools in Minnesota with a PLTW program and part of only 20 with the biomedical sciences program. The program is well-rounded, giving us hands-on experience with phlebotomy, dissecting organs, diagnosing diseases, and more. Even those not looking for a career in medicine gain critical thinking, collaboration, and problem-solving skills. As an aspiring pediatric nurse myself, what I learned in my classes has given me invaluable experience for my future career. If I had a magic wand, preferably one with a golden star on the tip, I would have the power to do anything. When I think about what I'd want to change, I think of having more spaces for students to work and connect. I think of having more resources for students and staff. I think of making our biomed program more widespread. I think of many things I would change, but ultimately, I'm stalled by a more pertinent need, a need for safety. According to the K-12 school shooting database updated this month, 235 school shootings occurred last year and 37 since January. 6 of the past 300 shootings have been in Minnesota. And while that seems like a small number, in reality, any number above 0 is far too big. We all know about the Annunciation Catholic Church shooting, the deaths of those students who were moved to our capital last month. I'm sure many of you walked by those empty desks. On March 18th, just last week, KSTP News reported shooting threats in St. Paul schools like Rosemount and Eagan. I have a close friend in Eagan, and when I saw the news, I immediately contacted her. She said it was their second threat in a row and stated, "I don't know what's happening." In Minnesota, we have stricter gun laws than most other states. Giffords Law Center shows that laws for open carrying, assault weapon restrictions, and ammunition sale regulations are some of the things that we do well, but we are still lacking in other areas. Effective bans on large capacity magazines, required permits for long guns, or to report stolen firearms are 3 examples of what we don't have. Another angle to consider is mental health. It's common to think the cause of most of this gun violence is mental illness. However, a Columbia psychiatry study of 22 states found that serious mental illness is not a key factor in most mass shootings, and approximately only 5% of shootings are related. While expanding access to mental health care is absolutely needed, you can't shoot if you don't have a gun. Linking all school gun violence to mental health only worsens stigma around complicated conditions. You ask about a magic wand. What would I do if I could change anything? I could ask for wide open spaces for students to work, but you can't hide from bullets in a room with no walls. I could ask for more resources for us to rely on, but the resource we need most is you. You, as our lawmakers, have the power to make a change to stop the violence we live in fear of facing every single day. You are our magic wand. Thank you for taking the time to listen to student testimony. It means a lot to all of us in the district and the state. Thank you for your time.
Senator Coleman, okay, I didn't give her a chance to talk to her students. Senator Abler?
Yeah, well, thanks. I just, I hope you appreciate the eloquence of Luna there. I really appreciate you coming in. And Mr. Chair, she did have a PowerPoint, and we said, no, just go with, that's how on top of this. Thank you so much for being here. I think you do us all proud. Thank you.
Sarah Maxwell is, Senator Maye Quade?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would love to see the PowerPoint. Feel free to send it to me. I'd love to see it.
Make sure each page is numbered. Senator Kunish?
I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your views and the views of our students around the issue of the shootings in our schools and the work that we need to do here at the Capitol around gun safety. It's a really controversial issue, as you well know. You probably have done a lot of research on it, and perhaps it's part of your PowerPoint. But I want you to know that your words are not falling on unhearing ears and unfeeling people. There are a lot of legislators here that recognize the voice of students and how important it is. And when you come here to share that sort of message to all of us, I would just hope that the rest of the legislators, not just in this committee, but across the board, will listen to the voice of the students. You are the most vulnerable, and it is, if nothing else in this world, it is our job to protect our children. So thank you very much for bringing the topic forward.
Sarah, you're ready to go.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to speak today. So, like I said, my name is Sarah Maxwell. I'm from the North Shore of Minnesota. I graduated this last spring, 2025, from William Kelly High School in Silver Bay. During my senior year, I was offered the opportunity to be part of Lake County Ambulance Services EMT in the Schools program. And we finished the program in November of this last year, 2025, and since then I've become a state and nationally registered EMT. And just recently I was hired as an EMT at Lake County Ambulance Service. Now, I did this program not really knowing what it was going to lead into for me. I wasn't really sure EMS was something I wanted to get into. I've always had a passion for healthcare, known that I want to take care of people and help people. So this was offered to me as an opportunity just to get my feet in the water, learn more about EMS. What I didn't know was that I was going to be introduced to this whole world that nobody talks about. The part where you're the first person that takes care of someone in some of the hardest and scariest moments of their life. Now, as we did lectures and skills days in class, I did this all while I was in high school, I really learned what EMS was about and how important it is. We started doing clinical ride-alongs, and I got to have real patient contacts, and I got to realize how big of a difference I could make in somebody's life just as a 19-year-old EMT student on the ambulance. And I'm just extremely grateful for this opportunity, and I feel like had I not been presented this opportunity, I don't know where I'd be right now. This has just granted me so much knowledge on EMS and how important it is,
and the passion I have for that now, and I'm extremely grateful. So, and thank you for taking the time to listen to us students today.
Thank you. Senator Hochschild, you want to say anything?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thanks so much, Sarah, for being here. We've faced a lot of challenges with rural ambulance all across greater Minnesota, and I just want to highlight Lake Superior School District and Lake Superior Ambulance Service created a partnership and came to the state legislature for a small amount of money to start a pilot program that trains high school students to provide EMT services. This is the first pilot program that we funded, and it's just doing incredible things, getting young people involved in these critical services that we need all across greater Minnesota, where we're really lacking in the workforce and volunteers that provide life-saving care. So grateful to Sarah, and I've met many of the other students along the shore who have participated in this program. Just a really neat way for us to teach students outside the classroom, but also provide a critical service. Appreciate the opportunity, Mr. Chair, and thanks so much, Sarah, for participating.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Coleman, do you want to say anything about your testifiers?
I may have a favorite, Mr. Chair, but they all did fantastic, so thank you for coming.
And the last two, Raina Lee and Benjamin from Rochester. Rain Lee, you're online if you want to begin. She's having technical issues, or we are. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Benjamin Howard, and I go to Rochester Public Schools, Rochester John Marshall to be specific. I'm a junior, and I'm loving it. It's amazing, one of the best years ever. I'm here for Senator Liz Bolden as well. My favorite thing about school has absolutely have to be clubs. I think that clubs and extracurriculars and organizations are the most important thing for a school to have if they want their students to look back on their high school years and just say, I really liked high school. I'm part of about 7 clubs, and I believe that it is one of the best things. It helps you grow socially as well as a person, your speaking skills. If you asked me to come up here 9th grade year, I wouldn't be able to get a word out. I love my school because it's so easy to start a club. We have over 40 clubs registered in the school. And every teacher is excited. If you ask them, I want you to help with my club, they will do it every single time, no question. I've started over about 2 clubs and helped with 2 other people start clubs as well. We have added about 6 to the total this year, including Muslim Student Association, which has over 100 members. We have Asian Student Association as well as the school news program. And I truly believe it helps build communities in everyone. And going off that, my favorite part of the day would be before and after school, walking around and seeing all the clubs just having fun, laughing, and learning things together. I've walked into clubs and there's like 20 of them, and it's amazing. I've walked into a bunch of clubs, and I think my favorite one, I walked into the Asian Student Association one day, and they were just making egg rolls, and they invited the entire school to just show up and just make egg rolls, teach them how to do it, and just enjoy and build a community, which I think is important for any school. And I believe that the clubs have also helped us impact the community of Rochester immensely. We have a thing every December called JM Gives, where for the entire month of December, we fundraise for 2 charities as Christmas Anonymous and Family Promise. We help families out in the holidays, whether it's getting food, warm clothes, or celebrating the holidays. Every club in the school participates, and they do their own little fundraisers, whether it's bake sales, games. We invite students to do whatever they want, really, to help raise money towards good causes. And I believe that if schools dedicate themselves to helping charities, I think it can not only help the town out, or the city, as well as the school, and help students raise awareness for issues that they can help out with. Since 2020, JM has been able to raise $228,664 for those 2 charities. I think it's one of the greatest things that we do as a community. If there's one thing I can improve, though, for all schools, would be student participation. We have a lot of clubs, but they range from only 10 to 20 students each, and we could have so many more students involved in things that they can develop passions for, make lifelong friendships and just bonds that they can look back on fondly. I believe that if every school has their students participating in a club or an extracurricular of some sort, everyone can grow in so many ways as human beings.
Thank you. And our last student testifier, if technology is our friend, Raina Lee. Raina Lee, could you turn on your camera? Yeah, we're having a difficulty time hearing you. While we're waiting another 30 seconds or so, Natalia, I don't know if you remember this, but when I visited your school, I don't know if I said I'm 67 years old or there's 67 senators. And I don't know how I said 67, but it came out 6'7". I didn't know why the kids were laughing at me. And I looked at them all and I said, what's so funny? And they all just smiled and shook their heads like they were embarrassed for laughing. And I said, no, really, why are you guys all laughing at me? And so three young women, I don't know if you were one of them, but three young women came up after class and said to me, we're so sorry for laughing when you said 6'7", but we don't know why it's funny either. Senator Maye Quade.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. And I just do want to add for the record that you did send a note to the entire Senate chat and asked why all the students had laughed at 67 senators. And so we tried via text to explain 6'7", which was my favorite part of that story. So thank you for bringing the joy to all of the senators.
Senator Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This will probably be the cringiest moment of my Senate career, but that 6-year-old we just saw today felt the need to wake me up at 5 a.m. to ask me this: what do you call the number 7 when it's sick? 6'7". I had to for his sake.
Yeah, the adults are enjoying this more than the students. Yeah, Senator Maye Quade just said we might have ruined 6'7". Raina Lee, are you is it? We are so sorry on our end. Okay. We are so sorry, but we'll maybe give it another 30 seconds. Senator Bolden, do you want to say anything about your two testifiers or the one I got through?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Raina Lee, I'm sorry we are not hearing you. We'll stay connected and figure things out and maybe bring you back on a different day if that's okay.
Wednesday would be great.
Okay, we'll be in touch. And Benjamin, thank you for being here and testifying. Afterwards, I'm interested in what are the 2 clubs that you started, so you can tell me that later. But thank you for being here and sharing what really the wonderful community JM is. We have all of our high schools, all of our schools in Rochester are excellent, but all of my 3 kiddos were Rockets and graduated from JM. So I experienced that community as well. And so thank you for being here to share about that.
First, we will hear now we can applaud all the students. First, we will hear Senate File 3870. As a reminder, we will have a walkthrough of the A3 Ed Policy Omnibus proposal. We will have markup on Wednesday. We are not accepting amendments to the bill today, but we have a number of testifiers in a little while. Senator Maye Quade, would you like to move Senate File 3870 before the committee?
So moved.
I will now move the A3 amendment. Members, any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of adopting the A3 amendment, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Seeing none, the amendment is adopted. I will now look to Ms. Lewis for her moment of in the limelight and walk us through the bill. We will pause after each article for questions and comments from members.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Beginning on page 1, Article 1 is general education. The entirety of the article is actually from the agency's bill. So section 1 is the definition of kindergarten. Section 2 is the federal law for children experiencing homelessness. Section 3 is the federal law for migratory children. Section 4 relates to sponsoring organizations for the child and adult food program and federal summer food programs. Section 5 is on page 5, and that is the deadline date for applications for the summer food service program applications. Section 6 is SCRPA add-in of renumbering the section that is, I think, number 4 in the bill, and putting it with the other food service, summer food service program sections of law. That's the end of Article 1.
Any questions or comments about Article 1? Seeing none, begin, Ms.
Okay, Mr. Chair and members, Article 2 starts on page 6. The first section is from the agency bill, and it relates to the what are academic standards versus benchmarks. Section 2 is the language from the department about the bilingual and multilingual seals. Section 3 is over on page 9, and that is the chair's bill on the civic seal designation, and that received some changes to the language in the state and local government committee. So instead of a task force, I believe it's a council now, and there's language about the appointment of members and so forth. Section 4 is from the department's bill, and it's the definitions within the of comprehensive achievement and civic readiness as it relates to early childhood programs. Then Section 5 is Senator Abler bill on the site-governed schools. Section 6, and that one takes several pages. Section 6 is on page 17. That is from the department bill regarding PSEO and mission standards, as well as labeling institutions as eligible institutions. Section 7 is on page 18, and that is also from the agency bill, and it relates to the dates by which a student notifies their school that they are enrolling in a PSEO course. Section 8 is, starting at the bottom of page 18, is also from the agency bill, and it relates to, there's a dispute between the student and their secondary school and receiving credit for the post-secondary enrollment course. Section 9 is on page 21. That was from Senator Rasmussen's high school diploma for veterans. Section 10 is another piece that came from State and Local Government Committee on the Civic Seal. And then Section 11 is from Senator Rest, Senate File 173, regarding cursive handwriting and having the commissioner include the cursive in the next review and revision of the language arts academic standards.
Members, any questions about Article 2? Okay. Continue, Ms.
All right. Mr. Chair and members, I'm not going to go through the sections that you see in Article 3 because those sections are part of the READ Act, and there's Senator Maye Quade's bill later, which will have the same section. So there's, but more. So I'll skip that to Article 4, which starts on page 25, and that's the teacher's article. The first section is on rulemaking, and it came from Senator Kuntz's Senate File 3625, and that's transferring the rulemaking responsibility from Pelsby to the commissioner for the paraprofessional credential. Section 2 is from the same bill, same issue. Section 3 is from Senator Clark bill, Senate File 3368. regarding the paraprofessional qualifications and competencies. And that language is on, the new language is on 28 from that bill. Section 4 is again from the Kunish bill regarding the rulemaking authority. Section 5 is also from that same bill, and it's about early literacy field experience for teacher candidates, teacher licensure candidates. Section 6 is on the bottom of 18 to or 29 to 20 to 30, and that is a data sharing agreement between Pelsby and BOSA, and that came from Senator Kush's bill. Sections 7 and 8, pages 31 and 32, are from the Kunish bill, and that's updating terminology from mental illness to mental health. Section 9, towards the bottom of page 32, is about the requirements for renewing a teacher license as it relates to mental health. Section 10 is the bulk of the article, and that is Senator Mann's Senate File 3626, and takes about 15 pages for that Interstate Teacher Mobility Compact, but that's the end of Article 4.
Members, any questions about Article 4? Okay, Ms. Lewis.
Mr. Chair, members, then Article 5 is the article on charter schools, and the entirety of the article is from MDE's bill. I don't know if you want to go section by section, but we saw it, and there's nothing different. So, do you want to hear? Okay. Then we're on to Article 6. And let me find that page. Mr. Chair and members, Article 6 starts on the bottom of page 59, and it's health and safety. Section 1 is definitions. Oh, and I should say the sections 1 through 6 basically came from the agency's bill. I rewrote a lot of it. It was all given as all new language, but it was relating to the anti-bullying statutes and referring back to policies and stuff. So I blended it with their language to the existing law. So the section 1 on page 60 clarifies in the definition of public schools that it included intermediate schools and tribal contract schools. At the bottom, it strikes the definition of remedial response and then adds definitions for actor, target, and supportive interventions. Then section 2 is the local district and school policy that they're required to have, and the direction in their language was to remove references to remedial responses and have them be comprehensive supportive interventions. So that changes on line 61.23. On section 3, on page 62, is again with the policy and removing the remedial responses and having comprehensive supportive interventions. Section 4 is the agency's section on policy alignment and directing districts and schools to have by a new policy or realign their policy by the 2027-2028 school year. Then section 5 is relates to the safe and supportive school programming and removing the remedial response and having comprehensive supportive interventions. Section 6 is the language about supportive interventions that are required under the policy. Section 7, at the bottom of 65 over to page 66, is Senator Mann's Senate File 3717 regarding the crisis management policies. Oops. Section 8 is Senator Westland, Senate File 3548, regarding CPR and AED training for high school athletic coaches and assistant coaches. Section 9 is from the agency bill, and it's related to having parties to a appeal have the written transcript of an expulsion hearing. Section 10 is Senator Mann's Senate File 508 regarding the school cell phone policy. Then that's the end of Article 6.
Questions, comments, Article 6? Article 7.
All righty, here we go. Article 7 is libraries and school boards. It's on page 68. Section 1 is Senator Housechild, Senate File 3963, regarding 6-member school boards becoming a 5-member school board. Oops. Then next page, on page 69, is Senator Kunish's Senate File 3685, the ebook library licenses, and that is the end of Article 7.
Questions, comments, Article 7, Article 8.
All right. And Article 8 is the last article, and it starts at the bottom of page 71 with Section 1, and that is Senator Kunish's Senate File 3594, as well as Section 2, and regarding the school trust lands director's duties and report. That's the whole bill.
Questions, comments, members? Okay. With that, Senate File 3870 as amended is being laid over for markup on Wednesday. We will be hearing the testifiers on the bill after we finish the next bill walkthrough. Next, we will hear Senate File 4510. We will have a walkthrough of the A2, Senate Maye Quade's READ Act proposal. We'll have a markup on Wednesday for this bill as well. We are not accepting amendments to the bill today. Senator Maye Quade, would you like to move the 4510 before the committee?
So move, Mr. Chair.
Senator Maye Quade would like to move the A2 amendment. Members, questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of adopting the A2 amendment, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Seeing none, the amendment is adopted. Senator Maye Quade, would you like to move the A3 amendment?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Members, any questions? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the A3 amendment is adopted. Ms. Lewis, you're on. Oh, sorry, Senator Maye Quade to your bill.
Thank you, Mr.
And amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members. Thank you for walking through Senate File 4510 as amended, which is the 2026 READ Act bill. So as a reminder, we are about 2.5 years into the READ Act implementation, and I apologize, but I am gonna just thank all of the coalition partners who made this possible. We meet regularly and have for years, and it is a tremendous amount of work that these folks are doing, so I wanna thank them. I may have my House colleagues, Representative Clardy, Representative Vernig, Representative Perez Vega, Representative Mueller, nonpartisan staff in both the other body and the Senate, and Council, the Department of Education, the Commission for the Deaf, Blind, Hard of Hearing, Education Minnesota, the Minnesota Association of School Administrators, the Minnesota School Boards Association, the Minnesota Rural Education Association, the Minnesota Service Cooperatives, the Minnesota Association of Metropolitan School Districts, Decoding Dyslexia, Ed Allies, the Minnesota Association of Colleges of Teacher Education, the Reading League, the PELSB, the Librarians, and the Minnesota Speech Language Hearing Association. And members, those aren't folks that just like get emails, like we have these ginormous meetings and we dig into topics, we create subgroups. It's a ton of work. And so what you see before you in the A2 amendment is an attempt to capture all of the work that has happened between last year and this year, and I'll walk you through that. So we're on the A2 amendment as amended by the A3. Section 1 updates the definition of literacy specialist. When we put this definition into law, the only people who would have been able to be literacy specialists are people who had completed the professional development training. The definition there just includes the licenses of people who would have done it at that point. But now there are so many more people, and we have opened that up to anybody who has completed that training. Section 2, we update the definition of a parent. We inadvertently sometimes used parent instead of parent or legal guardian throughout the READ Act, so this would just update that definition. Section 3, 4 and 7 adds licensed library media specialists to staff development, literacy goals, and local literacy plan reporting. Section 4 clarifies that a parent, in consultation with a teacher, may opt a K-3 student out of literacy screening. This is intended to be very limited. There is an opt-out for 4 through 12, and so this is meant to mirror that, although we should maybe talk about folks' comfort with that. I don't know where I'm at on that, to be honest with you. And then the next part of Section 4 clarifies that English language learning students, after being initially screened for characteristics of dyslexia, will be screened in accordance with vendor-approved guidelines for subsequent screening. There's an access exam that students take, and it has guidelines for not over-identifying English language learner students with characteristics of dyslexia because they're not proficient in English at that point. Section 5 updates the requirement that students in grades 4 through 12 who aren't reading at grade level are screened once per year. Section 8 updates the language on approved screeners to clarify that districts must provide accommodations for screenings. Section 11 puts into statute what already is, and I want to walk you through, excuse me, this is on page 11. Right now in statute, we have this curriculum that is approved by the department or not approved framework, but that's actually not how it works. We have curriculum that is highly aligned, partially aligned, minimally aligned, or not aligned. And so section 11 would put what already is into statute so we can move away from this idea of approved or not approved. And then section 12 updates the review of literacy materials. So publishers may have their materials re-reviewed for alignment if they pay for it, and that the rubric must be posted online. And updates the review cycle. And then last part on 12.29 updates that structural literacy practices that are minimally aligned or not aligned can't be purchased using literacy aid. And Mr. Chair, that is the 2026 READ Act.
Thank you, Senator Maye Quade, and for your ongoing effort on getting our kids up to speed on reading. Thank you. Any members, any questions? Okay, thank you, Senator. With that, Senate File 4510 as amended has been laid over for markup on Wednesday. Let's begin. Testifiers. First up, Commissioner Jett, Jessica Webster, Joey CNN. If you guys could just start jockeying for position.
Mr. Chair.
And Anya Mota.
Just while they're jockeying.
Senator.
Yeah, while they're jockeying, I just want to announce that I'm still working on an amendment for the one-day suspension. I'm working with many of the people that were interested. And I hope that what I come up with for Wednesday will be something that I think will accomplish the goal while protecting the students and all the goals we wanted to do. So assuming I get that perfected today, then I'll ask you to publish it so people can see for potential adopting on Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I'm trying to look through the delete all amendment, and perhaps I missed it. But to you, Mr. Chair, or to council, when Pelsby presented their agency bill, there was a provision included that would permit Minnesotans attending state-approved teacher colleges in other states to obtain a Tier 2 license here in Minnesota. And I know that it was in the Pelsby agency bill, but I don't see it in the amendment in front of us. Is there a reason why that was omitted, or is that something that we can continue to discuss?
The author sent it to state and local gov, that specific provision. Senator Maye Quade.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Senator Miller, it did get a hearing in state and local gov too, so it is, it moved through state and local gov. So it is moving.
So Mr. Chair, Senator Maye Quade, others, so it's still perhaps moving through the process and we could still see it before the end of session.
Senator Kunish, do you care to add anything to that?
Yes, I think that was an issue that came up where there was question about the quality and the acceptability of some of these programs from outside of the state that don't quite meet or perhaps might not quite provide the adequate training for what Minnesota expects. And so it was, like it was explained, it was removed from the bill and is moving on its own as we have more discussion.
Okay, Mr. Chair and members, I'd like us to continue to have discussions about that. For someone like myself who represents border communities, it's not uncommon for Minnesotans to be maybe attending college, say in Wisconsin, but still want to come back and teach in Minnesota. So I hope it's something that we can at least continue the conversation, especially since it was in the Pellsby agency bill. So again, I'm not an expert on the issue, but I am hearing from folks who hope that we can have continued conversations about it.
Senator Kunish.
Thank you. And Senator Miller, if you want to direct those people to me, that would be just fine. I'd love to hear from them. Thank you.
Thank you, members.
Okay, and thank you, Mr. Chair. So is that, just so I'm clear, is that a education policy bill or an education finance bill? Like what's the, what committee is it in?
Policy.
Policy, okay. So this committee. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Commissioner Jett, when you're ready.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Commissioner.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Willie Jett, and I have the privilege of serving as the Commissioner of the Minnesota Department of Education. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to offer some comments on the committee's Education Policy Omnibus Bill, and I appreciate the flexibility to join you virtually today. I'm currently attending a national legislative policy conference with education leaders from across the country, where much of the conversation is centered on how states are aligning policy to better support students. It's been a timely reminder that the work happening in Minnesota is both leading and contributing to broader national efforts to strengthen public education. I also want to begin by thanking the committee for including so much of the governor's education policy bill in your omnibus. In particular, I appreciate the codification of federal protections for migratory, homeless, and highly mobile students into Minnesota statute. As shared previously, these students often experience significant instability. By placing these protections into state law, Minnesota is affirming that every student deserves consistent, stable access to their education. We also appreciate provisions that allow the department to support student achievement through administrative action. For example, allowing alternate assessments or demonstrations of proficiency in languages not currently offered as national assessments honors the linguistic diversity of our students while maintaining high expectations and preparing them for a multilingual world. This committee has also been a strong partner over the past several years in strengthening accountability and oversight for our public charter schools. Charter schools are an important part of Minnesota's public education system, and your work to balance innovation with appropriate oversight has been meaningful. The proposals included in this bill build on that progress while also providing needed technical clarity. And we're just grateful for the feedback we've received from the field and look forward to continued conversations on areas where language may need refinement. We would also ask the committee to consider a few additional provisions from our bill, including clarifying language around school safety drills, consolidating procurement statutes, and addressing gaps for purchases under $200,000, and refining language related to second breakfast and second lunch. And additionally, we look forward to continued collaboration on paraprofessional proposals included in this bill. And finally, I just want to thank Chair Cwodzinski for ensuring that student voices, again, I'm going to say student voices, that they are part of this process. And to the students who have testified, thank you. Your experiences matter, your voices are heard, and your stories have the power to shape a better future. So again, thank you for the opportunity to testify today.
Thank you, Commissioner. And with that, we have many testifiers. We're going to limit you to 90 seconds. So just an FYI, at 90 seconds, you may hear some symphony music or something. Okay. Jessica Webster, Joey, CNN, Anya, Moda, come on up. Whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Joey Chenyan, Executive Director of the Minnesota Association of Charter Schools. The charter school provisions in SF 3870 take an important and appropriate approach by building on the significant accountability and transparency charter reforms passed over the last 2 bienniums. In partnership with authorizers, MDE, and lawmakers, my organization, MAX, has passed extensive policies that strengthen board governance and training, strengthen financial oversight structures, improve administrator qualifications, enhance authorizer accountability, establish market need and demand requirements for new schools and expansions, strengthens procurement standards, and increases transparency and guardrails in contracts with commercial entities. This bill largely organizes and refines those recent changes while making targeted improvements, such as clarifying initial board structures and strengthening assurances around EMOs and CMOs. These reforms help ensure Minnesota's uniquely structured charter school sector and make sure it remains protected from commercial influence and stays true to its local nonprofit, community-centered roots. We do have one concern. The provisions outlining board minute requirements would benefit from some refinement. We support strong, clear expectations aligned to best practices. However, the language should ensure transparency that is meaningful and useful to the public without creating unnecessary detail or impractical administrative burdens. Done right, this strengthens public trust and provides appropriate visibility into the school government's process of charter schools. We are actively working with authorizers and MDE to improve this language. Finally, strong policy must be paired with equitable funding. Chartered public schools carry out extensive accountability and transparency responsibilities that requires resources. Because charter schools cannot levy and face persistent funding inequities, these requirements increasingly strain school budgets. Accountability work should not come at the expense of classroom resources. MAX remains committed to advancing transparency and accountability across our sector and looks forward to continued partnership on our work. Thank you.
And I just want to, on behalf of Ed Policy, Mr. Chenyan, thank you for all your work you've done the last few years on behalf of charter schools.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Anya Mota, and I'm a junior at Eastridge High School and a representative for the Minnesota Youth Council. I'm here today to speak in support of Senate File 3870, but strongly encourage the inclusion of this amendment that would mandate student service on school boards to the omnibus on Wednesday. As a student, I've seen firsthand how decisions made at the school board level directly shape our everyday lives, from mental health resources to testing policies and everything in between. Unfortunately, in 197 districts, those decisions do not take any student input at all. At my school, a new attendance policy prevented a friend from leaving early to take care of her sister who had the flu that week. Even though we as students are affected the most by every school board policy, in 197 districts in our state, we do not have a voice in shaping it to any extent. This amendment would offer a simple and practical solution. By mandating a student representative to serve in a non-voting capacity, it ensures that student voice is included without changing governance structure or adding additional burden to school districts. A helpful way to think about this role is through the example of Washington, D.C.'s representative in Congress. Washington, D.C.'s delegate does not have voting power, but they are still able to participate in discussions and advocate for their constituents. In the same way, student representatives wouldn't be able to vote, but they would play a meaningful role in shaping and informing the decisions that affect thousands of Minnesotan students. Ultimately, this is an urgent, low-cost policy that strengthens decision-making across Minnesota. I, along with thousands of Minnesotan students, urge you to give us a seat at the table and support this amendment into the Education Policy Omnibus this Wednesday. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And members, just feel free to weigh in after each testifier rather than call them back up at the end. Senator Bolden.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say thank you for your testimony. I hear you. I think it is important to have those student voices as we have had here today and, in front of the committee. As we are making decisions, we are bringing in student voices. It makes sense to me that school boards do the same. The decisions that are made there affect students. And so thank you for bringing that forward. And we'll hear more about that on Wednesday, I'm sure. Thank you.
Senator Abler.
Well, thanks. I just, well, for one thing, look at the quality of students we have coming to talk to us. Just eloquent, poised, confident, well-spoken. And I would vote for that amendment to give you non-voting status on a school board. So thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Ms. Akila Robertson, Marin Christensen, and Beatrice Handlin, if you could make your way up. Beatrice, I see you're online, so begin when you're ready.
Okay, thank you. My name is Beatrice Hanlon. I am a former PSEO student and the current board chair of the nonprofit People for PSEO, which is dedicated to promoting, defending, and expanding opportunities through the PSEO program. I'm here today to share my concerns with the provisions outlined around PSEO in the bill, specifically lines 2031, 2032, and lines 21.6 to 21.20. These provisions, as currently written, create a structure in which a district asks students and institutions to provide syllabi and other materials to verify if the standards match the high school graduation requirements. While in theory this is a helpful and productive statute, these provisions, as currently written, create a structure in which the school districts are given power over specifically and creates more red tape in which students can take the PSEO program. In the past, school districts have not been compliant with PSEO statute and even gone so far as to try to restrict PSEO students from engaging in the program through restrictions on after-school activities, not sharing accurate information on the program, and discouraging students, especially students of color, from accessing the program. People for PSEO believes this language and the process as written could lead to conflicts between students and districts and restrict opportunities for students to engage with PSEO. And it creates further red tape for a program that already has barriers and creates a further workload for MDE that is unclear if they have the capacity. There's been discussion on how PSEO needs further oversight, and that is a fair discussion, because we do need to make sure students are meeting graduation requirements. But we also need to know that the institutions these students are attending are accredited, and these courses are college level, and school counselors are working with students to choose the right courses. I know mine did. However, the provisions in this bill as it stands is not quite ready for prime time. It needs to be reconsidered and adjusted to keep in mind the lengths of the process outlined, response times from schools and institutions, as well as the history of districts discriminating against students. And additionally, it's an opportunity to pause, complete further research, like a task force or audit that would provide background and good context before rushing in. Thank you for allowing me the chance to speak today.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Oh, Steve.
Senator Abler.
Well, thanks. I just want to thank the testifier for her testimony. I think that's profound, and I think we would do well to heed her advice. I think it's well said and correct, and so I hope there's a way to make sure we don't keep one student from getting to their opportunity. Thank you.
Mr. Chair and committee members, I am Dr. Akila Roberson, Policy Director at Education Evolving. Thank you for the opportunity to testify in support of Senate File 3870. And we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These words, penned 250 years ago by our nation's founding fathers, are the very pinnacle upon which one's educational, personal, and professional endeavors are made possible. And within the context of education, they undergird the necessary support to create learning environments where creativity, academic rigor, and ignited intellectual curiosity are tangible for students. This bill is a move towards improving the quality of academic outcomes by ensuring that the unique learning needs of our students are addressed with care. To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Certainly, we congratulate Senator Cwodzinski for his final omnibus bill and thank Senator Kunish for teaming in this effort by serving as a co-author. There is still room for growth. SF 3870 is not the final product, but a mere chapter in it. We are grateful for this committee maintaining conversation on the need for innovative frameworks in education in light of the ebbs and flows of our country. And we are confident that you will continue to do so. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter it in such form as to them shall seem most likely to effect their safety and happiness. Let us keep working towards these ends, safety, liberty, and collective happiness for our students by supporting SF 3870. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chair Cwodzinski and committee members. My name is Maren Christensen Hofer. I serve as the Executive Director for the Multicultural Autism Action Network, and I'm a parent of a child with a disability. I'm here just to say thank you for including Senator Mann's language about student planning or student safety for students with disabilities in the omnibus bill. We've had a lot of discussion about how to keep our students safe, and our students, our staff, our families, schools across Minnesota have been through a lot of tragedy lately, and I'm grateful for the fact that we can learn something from this and really improve the situation going forward. We've talked about the fact that the Americans with Disabilities Act requires us to think about the needs of people with disability, but we don't always do a great job of considering what that looks like for people with indivisible disabilities or people with a mental health disability or communication challenges. That's why this language is so incredibly important. Our educators were called upon to show up for students in remarkable ways, and they rose to the challenge, but it's really not fair to our educators or to our students to do this without a plan. Planning in crisis situation should not be a may, it should not be a should, it should not be a may allow for, it has to be a must for all students with disabilities. And that's why we're so grateful to you for including this language in the omnibus bill. So thank you.
Thank you both. Michelle Gustafson, Louis Gustafson. One's on Zoom? Well, they both are. Okay, go. Remote testifiers.
All right, I will start. Thank you, Mr. Chair and honorable members of the committee. I am Michelle Gustafson, a co-lead for Distraction Free Schools Minnesota, a public high school counselor and a parent in a large suburban district. I am here to support the school cell phone policy outlined in Senate File 3870. While some argue that smartphone policy should remain a matter of local control, the data suggests this issue is too critical to be left to a district-by-district approach. We already have the research. We don't need hundreds of separate debates to reach one evidence-based conclusion. Every student in Minnesota deserves the same protection, regardless of their zip code or the capacity of local parents to fight for it. School boards and state legislators share a public mandate. We urge you to use yours to support this bill and protect our students. A bell-to-bell ban is a powerful, cost-effective way to restore the social skills eroded by constant connectivity. I urge you to extend these protections to our high school students who deserve the same healthy school climate as younger kids. Districts like Stillwater that have implemented full bans report vibrant lunchrooms and a sharp decline in social media-driven conflict. Some say high schoolers should simply learn to manage their devices, but science says otherwise. Their prefrontal cortexes are still developing. Asking them to self-regulate is like asking a driver to use a braking system that isn't fully installed yet. We cannot accept smartphone addiction as an inevitable way of life. This is a public health crisis. A 7-hour phone break is an efficient intervention that immediately protects high schoolers' mental health. Please support this bill for every student in Minnesota. Thank you.
Louis, you're also remote?
Yes, I am.
Go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Chair and honorable members of the committee. Hi, my name is Louis Gustafson. I'm a high school student that lives in District 196, which has a similar policy to the one proposed. And because I live in this every day, I'm here to support Senate File 3870 regarding school cell phone policy, but also tell you that is not quite enough. Students are missing out on so many shared experiences because of phones. Looking around the classroom after a test or during lunch and seeing everyone with their head down scrolling on Instagram is the definition of isolation. I personally don't have my phone on me in school, but if my parents allowed me to, I definitely would. Every student wants to be on their phone because that's just what everyone else does. I've realized that's impossible for a high schooler to make this choice and be different when it's so easy to just be on your phone, because we're still kids. Should that teenager you yell at for running around the mall be expected to responsibly limit the use of this device designed to target and addict their brain? I've heard at least 10 friends talk about how they wish they were born in the 80s or 90s because school seems so wild and fun in the movies, which is confusing because quality of life should have improved over the years. The missing out seems to be due to the culture of not being as present. A school culture with phones is a culture where no one truly cares or is present. And when you're with someone and they go on their phone, you feel like they value the screen more than your presence. This is not the school social environment that we want teenagers subjected to, and is one that is not as fun to be a part of, in my opinion. Due to these factors, I believe that it is very important for the state to expand this bill's protection to high school students. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Maye Quade.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I want to really lift up what we had our student testifiers say. You know, I was a student in the 90s, born in the 80s, and it was different. It was wild, but we were talking to each other. We were face to face. And when you have young people coming and saying, look, this isn't, you would yell at us for running around a mall, but you're expecting those same people to self-regulate with phones. Like, we should listen to that. And you know, there are some days I sit here and I'm like, wow, I represent my district really well. And this is one of those moments because I completely agree. I do wish our cell phone policy in this bill just was K through 12. I don't know if there's something special about turning 14 that makes the on-purpose addiction that is created by tech companies like more avoidable than a 13-year-old. So I would just offer that maybe as an amendment on Wednesday, but I really appreciate the testifiers and coming and talking about this policy, because we are just so at the whim of these tech companies, and we don't have to be, and this is a law that we could make where it's not on each individual parent or each individual student to put in some regulations or self-regulation, but it's really us getting in between the tech companies and the addicts they're trying to create and saying, okay, not our kids. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator. And to echo what Senator Maye Quade just said, there's a wonderful column in this weekend's paper about a young person asking their parent about, they watched Stand By Me together, and the young person didn't understand why these 4 boys were allowed to go off for the day on overnight. And according to the letter writer in the paper, it was quite a teachable moment of the difference between the 2 generations. And anyway, so, well, you're already ready. So just identify yourself for the record and begin your testimony.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, my name is John Loff. I'm the advocacy coordinator at Suicide Awareness Voices of Education, or SAVE. I'm speaking in place of our CEO, Eric Mishi, who sends us regrets for not being able to join today. I'm here to speak in support of Senate File 3870, and particularly the school cell phone policy in Article 6, Section 10. Cell phones are now a constant presence in the lives of young people. While they offer connection and access to information, they also introduce continuous distraction, social pressure, and exposure to harmful content, especially during the school day. When students have constant access to their phones, learning competes with notifications, social media, and peer dynamics that do not pause when class begins. This leads to reduced attention, disrupted instruction, and increased anxiety. The school day should be a place where students can focus, engage, and feel some distance from the constant demands of the digital world. Without reasonable boundaries on phone use, that break does not exist. From a suicide prevention perspective, this matters. Increased exposure to social media stressors, cyberbullying, and online harms is associated with higher levels of anxiety, depression, and feelings of isolation. Creating environments where students can disconnect, even temporarily, is a meaningful protective factor. This provision is a practical and balanced step that helps ensure classrooms remain spaces for learning. These policies work and have been shown to have real benefits already here in our state. We recognize that some may argue for this issue to be left to local control. School districts should have the authority to implement the policy. However, a uniform policy that provides a stronger minimum standard is needed across the state. Cell phones have the ability to connect us with information and other people around the world instantaneously. It doesn't make sense for students in one district to have more access to a cell phone than a student in another district when the negative impact is just about the same. SAVE is proud to support this legislation and encourages continued action to create safer, healthier environments for young people. We commend Senator Mann for bringing this legislation forward. Every student deserves a school day that is free from constant distraction and social pressure, no matter where they live across our state. This provision helps give them that chance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the committee. My name is Kulia Pringle, Executive Director of Stand Up Minnesota Parents United, where we work close to support families as they navigate literacy challenges, special education, discipline, and school systems that too often leave their children behind. I want to start with this. Too many of the families I work with are raising children who are being passed along in school without ever being taught to read. So the reality is that the children that look like me suffer the worst literacy rates in the state. I'm here in general to support Senate File 3870 with some concerns around PSEO from, as you've heard from the testimonies before, and you'll hear from the testimonies after me, but I'm here in support of, to speak in particular about the READ Act section and to support Senator Maye Quade's introduction of Senate File 4510. I would just hope that any future upgrades to the READ Act will include organizations that serve the populations that have a racial representative of folks who are disparately impacted by literacy rates, and those people who look like me suffer the worst literacy rates, and I did not hear much representation in the folks that was working on the upgrade to the READ Act. Representative Edelson made sure that many folks were at the table. At its core, the bill strengthens and builds on the foundation of the READ Act. Families have been clear. We expect a system-wide whole approach to literacy that starts earlier, reaches more educators, and is implemented consistently across schools. I appreciate that this bill expands literacy training beyond classroom teachers to include early childhood educators and library media specialists. For families, I will end at this. For the families I work with, this isn't theoretical. This is about whether their children will be able to read, thrive, and have a future. We have to get this right. Thank you.
Thank you both. Sarah Hawkins, Leroy Swart, and Matthew and Ethan Lux, two student testifiers. You guys are up next.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Sarah Hawkins. I'm the Assistant Director at Anoka County Library and Legislative Chair of the Minnesota Library Association. I'm here today in support of equitable terms and reasonable pricing for library ebooks. Thank you for including this important legislation. It is needed to ensure that all Minnesotans, regardless of location, ability, or circumstance, can access the reading and information they rely on. Current ebook licensing practices are unsustainable for Minnesota libraries. We often pay 3 to 5 times the consumer price for digital titles, and many licenses expire after 2 years or 26 checkouts. As a result, taxpayer dollars go towards short-term rentals instead of long-term community assets. These challenges affect Minnesota schools, many of which depend on public library digital collections because they cannot afford their own. In 2025, Metro Library spent $6.5 million on digital content, yet the unmet need still exceeded $21 million. This legislation strengthens responsible stewardship of public funds by ensuring fair, transparent, and predictable licensing terms, an approach modeled on Connecticut's recent contract-based framework. Strong libraries support Minnesota's broader book ecosystem. We help readers discover new authors, promote lifelong learning, and drive book sales. When libraries can serve the public well, writers, publishers, bookstores, and communities all benefit. Finally, this bill does not change copyright law or alter contractual relationships between publishers, vendors, and their creators. Libraries remain committed to upholding copyright and supporting the rights of content creators. This language simply clarifies the terms under which Minnesota libraries may license and lend ebooks, ensuring residents statewide can continue to rely on equitable digital access. Thank you for supporting equitable access to information for all Minnesotans through library ebooks.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Abler.
Anoka County Library, a hotbed of literacy. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Is it the largest library system in the world, or?
But amongst the most quality, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Go ahead.
My name is Leroy Swart, and I'm a PSEO student at the University of Minnesota, and I am against the PSEO aspects of 3870. In this bill, districts are given control to choose which PSEO courses count towards graduation. Now, districts already have a motive to prevent students from doing PSEO, so this would give districts a tool to take away a child's education and replace it with student loan debt. For example, calculus classes across the state already have a low amount of variance. Now, what if one district allows a student to take that calculus class at a college and another district doesn't? But that by itself would be a form of geographic discrimination. The appeal option in this case would be to the Commissioner of Education, which I do not believe would be an unbiased third party in this situation. So allowing this restriction on PSEO would be an attack on school choice, an attack on students who cannot afford college, an attack on rural students, and an attack on our education system. The American education system draws people from across the globe due to it being regarded as one of the best, yet this bill would only harm it. In any education system, the student should come first, not the institution, and that's how it should stay.
Thank you. Are our two remote testifiers available yet? Okay. Ms. Dietrich and Grant Eustace, and Matt Shaver, you guys are up next. Grant, if you want to go while the other two testifiers make their way up here, that'd be great.
Can you all hear?
Go ahead, Mr. Eustace.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair and honorable members of the committee. My name is Grant Eustace. I am a co-lead for Distraction-Free Schools Minnesota. I'm also a public high school teacher and a parent in a large suburban district. We currently utilize a phone policy similar to the one proposed today. Because I live this reality daily and am often charged with policing these devices, I am here to support this bill, but also to tell you it is not enough. This is SF 3870. To safeguard student focus and social development, this policy must move to a full bell-to-bell all-day ban for all K-12 schools. On average, high school teachers lose 35 minutes of instructional time daily simply managing device collection. That totals 98 hours or more than 4 days of lost learning per year. The cognitive switching cost of a single notification can derail a student's focus for 23 minutes. Phones are social media. Social media is phones. We are currently in a battle for student attention against a clear villain, big tech. This is our generation's big tobacco moment. Look around. The state of Minnesota and several school districts in Minnesota are suing social media over how these platforms affect teens. Several countries around the world have or are poised to ban social media for teens. 22 states plus Washington, D.C. have already passed K through 12 bell-to-bell legislation in the U.S. We don't ask each restaurant in the state of Minnesota if no smoking signs can be installed. Let's not put this public health issue on individual districts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Denise Dietrich, testifying on behalf of the Minnesota School Boards Association, the Minnesota Association of School Administrators, the Association of Metropolitan School Districts, and the Minnesota Rural Education Association. We appreciate the opportunity to share our support and concerns on Senate File 3870 and 4510 as amended. In 4510, we strongly support the one-year extension to reduce the required instructional hours for Phase 2 READ Act training. This flexibility has proven effective and helps districts manage their costs. In education, our education organizations strongly support adopting the Interstate Teacher Mobility Compact in Article 4. It helps streamline licensure for out-of-state teachers and helps address teacher shortages while maintaining high standards. Our groups continue to have concerns over a statewide cell phone prohibition as outlined in Article 5. While we share the concerns regarding the dangers of screen time, we believe trusting in our local school boards and district staff to work with their own local communities is the appropriate approach. Especially since districts are already implementing policies as was required by the legislature. Finally, thank you for allowing districts with 1,000 or fewer students to right-size their school boards from 6 to 5 members in Article 7, giving our communities the flexibility to maintain efficient and sustainable governance. With that, Mr. Chairman, that concludes my comments, and we thank you for your time.
Senator Maye Quade.
Thank you, Ms. Dietrich, and thank you so much for all of your ongoing work and participation in the READ Act Coalition. Can I maybe just bring in some of the testimony we've heard earlier about the cell phone policy? Is cell phone addiction different throughout the state? I mean, I guess what I'm wondering is, pulling up that thing, is it's a universal problem? The brain of an 8-year-old in ISD 196 is different from a brain of an 8-year-old in ISD 4. Is there a reason why we would have two different policies in those districts?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Denise Dietrich, Minnesota School Boards Association. We share the same goal and the understanding of the danger of cell phones. We just have a different point of view as to how to get to your policy or your prohibition, whatever the case may be. And so we do think it is really important to engage parents and students, the student voice, in developing your own local policy. And we do that for a lot of different topics as well.
Senator Maye Quade.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Dietrich, would you mind just giving a corollary? Like, you would consider this akin to other things, like what you would compare it to, that you've developed this way or that districts have developed this way?
You mean other policies that, like the bullying policy, and MSBA has a whole book of policies about this thick that local school districts adopt, and they can make their own.
Senator Mann.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We just keep hearing about, particularly the cell phone piece, how schools want local control. So could you point out, Ms. Dietrich, to where in the language it says that you cannot meet with parents and come up with your own policy?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, it doesn't necessarily say that you cannot meet with your own community and develop your own policy. However, the language does say that beginning in the 2027-28 school year, the school district or charter school's cell phone policy must prohibit cell phones and smartwatches in schools for students in grades kindergarten through grade 8. And so we think that that is a statewide mandate or prohibition on cell phones in the schools. As we have talked with some other people on the legal side of that as well, that they have asked us what the word prohibit means. Does that mean a cell phone cannot come into the property at all? Or what does that mean? And so prohibit in other policies means non-existent. It should not be there.
Mr. Chair, thank you for that. And we are happy to clarify that language this week for you. But again, you know, we keep saying that everyone has the same goal. We all understand the issue. We all have the same goal. So we put the goal in the language. How you get to that goal is completely up to each individual district. I just want to make sure that we are clear on that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. A follow-up, or should I? Senator Miller?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and Senator Mann and I expressed some concerns when the bill was up, and I'm wondering if we could actually put the language in there that you just mentioned. We're doing it on Wednesday. Awesome. Sounds like we're doing it on Wednesday.
Good.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you,
Thank
Senator
you.
Mann.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Shaver?
Chair Cwodzinski, members of the committee, good afternoon. Matt Shaver at Allies. Thank you for the opportunity to provide feedback on the DE to the Omnibus. The new PSEO process from MDE in Article 2, Section 8, where high school can after the fact take away a student's hard-earned credit, is the wrong direction and would result in students becoming off track for graduation. Does anyone here really think that if funding for PSEO kept high schools whole, that administrators would spend any of their extremely limited time demanding to see college syllabi and reviewing completed coursework to check for alignment to high school graduation standards? It's unlikely. A high school student who passes a college-level course deserves the high school credit, period. And what's driving these policy efforts to pick away at the one type of rigorous coursework in Minnesota that's actually closing an opportunity gap is an outdated funding formula. So while we appreciate MDE's willingness to hear feedback and amend this from where it was in the House, instead of what's proposed on page 19 and in this section, the state should just work to update the funding formula. One notable omission in the bill is the Pellsby proposal to include enrollment in state-approved teacher prep for out-of-state programs. So it's important to note we have multiple teacher licenses in Minnesota that literally don't have teacher preparation programs in this state. So that proposal creates opportunities for Tier 1 educators to go to teacher prep and eventually earn a Tier 3 license. Passing it doesn't mean every program in the country automatically is approved, so low quality or misaligned programs just would not be approved by Pellsby's rigorous standards. And finally, we're grateful to see the early literacy experience included in Article 4, Section 5 of the bill. This supports the READ Act work in traditional teacher preparation pathways and will give the next generation of teachers the kind of excellent theory to practice in literacy instruction I wish I had received in my own program. Maybe we all would have never even met. I want to thank you all for your public service to our state.
Senator Maye Quade?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Shaver, you might not be the right person to ask about this, but I think I find myself a little confused about what the bill does and how PSEO might work now. So if a student is taking a PSEO course, is there any, is it presumed because it's a college level course, it's as good as or better than high school, so it's good and it counts towards graduation, or does it have to be within the core content? I guess I'm not totally clear on that process at the moment.
Senator, there might be somebody from the department willing to answer that.
Thank you. And yes, we can also continue on and I can ask at the end too, but.
Mr. Chair, Senator Maye Quade, for the record, Megan Adiola, Legislative Policy Manager for the Minnesota Department of Education. Senator Maye Quade, could you restate your question?
Yes. Mr. Chair, Ms. Adiola, so I guess what I'm wondering is like the language that I'm reading in the bill is trying to say, you know, if a student's taking PSEO courses, it has to be like as good or better than the academic standards and like meet a standard that is specified in the graduation requirements. What happens now? Like, is it presumed because it's a PSEO course that it is then good enough and is it subbing in for certain credits, or I guess I don't totally understand the process anymore.
Thank you, Senator. Mr. Chair. Currently, the process is that the student notifies the district of their intention to participate in a PSEO course. Part of the conversation is intended to be what the student is attempting to get credit for, and whether it's an elective credit or something meant to fulfill a graduation requirement. Currently, the reason why we brought this proposal forward is that when districts determine after a student has completed the course that it would not satisfy graduation requirements, and there is no like second opinion or other sort of analysis. So it is the district reviewing what the student has completed for the course and then determining or coming back and saying that that would not fulfill a graduation requirement because of misalignment with standards. And we're hearing just some inconsistency on how those explanations are given to the students and their families as well. So we are hoping to provide some consistency and expectations that if a district does not feel that this meets graduation requirements, that they have to notify the student within 15 days of receiving materials, so before the student completes the course. And this would provide an appeal to the commissioner if the family disagrees, which we are currently being asked to do that we don't have the authority to do.
Senator Maye Quade.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And so do you have any data on the rate at which the scenario that the language is trying to fix is happening? Like how many students are taking a PSEO course and then after taking it being told this doesn't fulfill a graduation requirement or doesn't meet standards?
Mr. Chair, Senator, I'd be happy to get the numbers on that. I do know that we've received inquiries as of last week asking for some help with this. So it's, it continues to come up, usually during the spring semester. Thank you. But I'd be happy to get that data for the committee.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Senator Abe.
And I'll be brief. It's just interesting, and I appreciate what you're trying to do. I don't think the people that are working at PSEO see that it's all the way home. So I hope you can solve the problem and bring the advocates for PSEO to agree that this is a good way, because we do not want to take away opportunities for students. And some of these students actually stay in the system because they've been attracted to that very course. Otherwise, it might just go out the back door. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Senator Maye Quade.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I realize I had another question that might be more appropriate for the Education Finance Committee. But currently, how is, Mr. Shaver brought up the formula and the funding formula. What is that?
Mr. Chair, Senator Maye Quade, while I would be happy to talk about PSEO, I do want to respect the committee's time. I will provide some, we have some visual breakdowns of how PSEO funding flows that I'd be happy to send to the committee that I think might address your question, Senator.
Please. Thank you. Next testifier.
Hello, Chair Cwodzinski and the members of the Education Policy Committee. My name is Erin Sandsmark. I'm the Executive Director of Solutions Not Suspensions Coalition. First, we are in support of the inclusion of language regarding our unhoused youth here in Minnesota in the Chair's Omnibus, and the language in this bill that aims to ensure that unhoused youth are being provided access to improved resources. Our children who do not have stable housing have an immense amount of pressure, stress, and trauma following them. Our schools should be equipped to support the diverse needs of this at-risk population. Second, we want to make sure that we share our support in providing improved safety plans to that take into account our children with disabilities in particular. It's a no-brainer. Third, SNS shares our support in updating the bullying policy in this bill, providing that a child who may have caused any harm be provided with comprehensive and support interventions to make sure that we are taking care of the whole child and unpacking the root cause of any harm. Without support, we are doomed to continue to repeat our cycles of student pushout and the school to prison pipeline. Finally, though not present in this bill as it stands today, but knowing an amendment will be coming, we caution against any move to undo, repeal, or poke holes in protections in the K-3 suspension ban as we move through this session. Please be cognizant of the repercussions of doing so and the risks in doing so. We ask that this body take seriously the idea of alternatives. Perhaps that could be added to any future amendment to dismissals and in innovative ways to support our educators. Let's find those solutions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair and members, I'm Roger Arnson, and you can see from your agenda here, I'm representing the administrative groups, the 6 groups that are on the list here. And as you know, very often when we meet together as the administrative groups, we kind of assign some of the tasks to folks. And I have the bullying section here to just make comment on. This is Article 6, Section 6. This actually is a provision that has a lot of very good language in it. What we are suggesting here is that rather than mandating the interventions here, that you make this a strongly encouraged section of the statute for a host of reasons. This talks about what we do, and the language here I think is actually nicely drawn, where we talk about people who are the targets and then who are the actors that are involved in the bullying. As talking to school principals about this, they actually spend more time with the targets than they do with, more time with the actors than they do with the targets. They actually wish they could spend more time here. The point of this is this type of mandate here covers resources, the various skills, the various training, and it does vary from school to school. So if you give us some flexibility on this, we can try to implement it. If you make it as a mandate, it makes it problematic for some schools that might not have the resources, might not have the training, and that we'd aspire to do these things to work with the kids. Bullying is a very significant problem in schools. We don't solve it because we have a new group of kids coming through every year. And the strategies make a lot of difference, I think, for the different children and as they come forward. So we're just asking that this not be a mandate at this time and that you encourage this so that we're able to implement it, aspire to reaching the goals that are set out here, Mr. Chair.
Just a second. Is the word target in statute, or is it where'd that word come from?
Mr. Chair, it actually appears at 65.7 on.
No, I see, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was, Mr. Chair, that was new to me.
It's also six. Senator Maye Quade.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And, Mr. Aronson, so I just want to make sure I'm taking in the right information. So I'm looking at 65.6, and it just, the requirement I'm seeing here is that the district or school must provide supportive interventions for both the target and the actor. And then it gives some mays, like that may include this for the actor, and then it must include some resources for the target. Is this a requirement that isn't being fulfilled by any district in the state currently?
Mr. Chair and Senator Maye Quade, actually I would suspect that these requirements are met by many, many districts in the state. I think this is an aspirational type piece that we have, yes. I'm not sure that this is a new requirement, or I shouldn't say that. I would say that it's not a new professional practice among teachers, counselors, principals.
Senator Maye Quade.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, and I think maybe we're kind of getting on the same wavelength here, because I'm reading this as, it almost seems like it's putting into law something that should already be happening. And so I think then I get my antenna up of like, okay, but why is it being called a new mandate if this is something that reads to me like something we should already be doing? And so I guess to go back to the original question, is there a district that this framework isn't being applied in some way?
Mr. Chair, Senator Maye Quade, I think two things, and to answer your question, but the first part is, I think we have some concerns about trying to put good professional practices into statute, and that we should have some flexibility about that as to how they're implemented. But I do think that these practices, in terms of working with bullies, or we call them actor involved in a bullying incident, a lot of these are implemented now in a lot of school districts. There's a lot of focus on this. That's correct.
Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, Mr. Aronson. I think yes, I want us to be, I don't know, you said it was aspirational, but it does feel like this is something, because we've had the safe and supportive schools language for a long time in statute, and we updated it a few years ago with malicious targeting of some sort, so, we've been working our way here, and I think best practice, especially when this is so non-prescriptive, right? It doesn't give a timeline, it doesn't give number of meetings, it doesn't require like reconciliation, but it's just, you have to support both the actor and the target. Seems like a good thing to have in policy, and so I don't want us to infer either it is a new mandate and schools aren't doing this, or it's not a new mandate and schools are doing this, and I think I'd prefer it to be the latter, but if it's the former, then I would want it that's in statute.
Okay. Ms. Snyder.
Mr. Chair and members, for the record, my name is Caitlin Snyder, representing Education Minnesota and our 84,000 members, and for the rest of this sentence only, also SEIU 284. Thank you for the Article 4, Section 3 that includes the highly qualified para language for our Title I paras. This is a really important step to keep 5,000 paras working in our Title I schools. It comes from a working group from 2 years ago and some actions that we put into law last year. This is really important to keep some of our frontline workers working with our students. The piece of this bill that I am most excited about but had nothing to do with is in Article 7, Section 2, the book and digital audiobook licenses. Hearing our media librarian specialist talk about the oligarchy that is just driving up the cost of these ebooks and all of the publishing items onto our local libraries, we need to step in and regulate that market better. Staying on librarians, I am excited about their inclusion in the READ Act that Senator Maye Quade outlined today. They are very important in getting decodable books in front of our students. And on the topic of cell phones, since you haven't heard enough, we are in support of the language that's in this bill. The one thing we hear from our members is that if anything, it should go further. They don't want to be the cell phone police. They want a uniform law. One piece to flag that we have a little bit of a concern with, Article 1, Section 2. This is language from MDE codifying McKinney-Vento, which outlines how we have to take care of our kids that are facing housing instability. This would codify in state law, federal regulations. Absolutely a great idea. We're a little nervous about the timing right now because the Governor's Blue Ribbon Commission on Special Education has talked about defunding that transportation aid. And his budget announcement last week sort of doubled down on that. So just want to make sure that we're not strengthening protections on one side and cutting funds on the other side. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Nathan and Mr. Rogers.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. I am joined in the testimony for which I'm going to present by John Poupard and Levon Lee, two distinguished members of the American Indian community, by Alice Segrin, former Commissioner of Education, by Bob Wadle, former Commissioner of Education, all of whom in written testimony are strongly opposed to the current language. We appreciate the conversation that we had this morning with the Minnesota Department of Education, which indicated an openness to have a review of the PSEO language, but we want to raise strong concerns. I want to ask you to take a look at the back of this page. We have been talking for 5 years about the problems which are pervasive. More than 200 school districts throughout the state are not providing the up-to-date information that this legislature has been requiring. You can see, and these are only two of more than 200 examples. In one example, no 10th grade PSEO is mentioned, no mention about using school computers, no mention about you can participate in extracurricular activities. This has been going on for years. We think, as Senator Maye Quade said, that there is an absolute need to review the funding formula, which if you give me another 30 seconds, I can explain. But this is about money, folks, and we understand the K through 12 community is concerned about losing some funds. We get that. That's why we think that your approach, which is to say either there would be a task force or the legislative auditor, is the right approach to really get into the depth of a number of these issues. But this discourages kids from participating. It limits opportunities. This must change. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Chair and committee. My name's Kalik Rogers. I'm the Executive Director of Catalyst for Systems Change and a former PSEO student. And I'm in support of creating a dual credit task force and also potentially a report from the Office of Legislative Auditors. Mainly because, you know, conversations throughout the state of Minnesota that we've had here at CSC, and there was one clear theme. We're operating in silos. And plainly, when that happens, we create confusion instead of clarity, and that's what's happening here with PSEO. And particularly the, Senate File 3870, specifically on lines 20.32, we're focusing in on creating more barriers on young people accessing PSEO. Now, while this may be well-intended, it does have negative impacts when it comes to high school screening college courses, especially considering that giving them a 2-week parameter of time and also creating more barriers where the young people themselves have to then advocate for this to happen. I can speak from my own personal experience as being an African-American male, which was the first student to take PSEO at my high school at Gordon Parks here in St. Paul, and I was faced with resistance of taking the program, encouraged not to take it at all. And I know when it comes to barriers, especially for young people that look like me, any extra barriers to their participation in these programs could limit them to not taking the program at all. And I believe that we shouldn't create system issues and put them on young people, but should examine how the system could better impact young people's education experience. So thank you.
Senator Abler.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I just agree with everything they said. I just wanted to, maybe staff could help us. The letter they have reflects to the original bill, I think, and not amendments. So maybe they could just help us know what 20.31 is in the draft we have. So, but I said already, let's not hurt this before we all agree on it. The people at the table and others, Mr. Chair, I think they really are thoughtful about this, and passing this bill the way it is, especially that one section, I think is problematic. So, but if we can just, staff can advise us where in the amendment that would be, or later, it can be later too. Thanks.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, testifiers. Laura Jean, Pranav Sirium, you guys are, Pranav is remote. Pranav, if you're ready to go, we're ready.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chair, as well as the honorable members of the committee. My name is Pranav Sriram. I'm a resident of Eden Prairie, Minnesota, an alumni of Eden Prairie High School, as well as the University of Minnesota. And I'd like to thank you all for this opportunity today to come speak a little bit about one of the slight disagreements I had on SF 3870. I think it was already mentioned by both Mr. Joe Nathan as well as Ms. Beatrice Handlin, which that language found on lines 2031 to 2032, as well as lines 21.6 through 2120, I have a little bit of disagreement with. As we've already discussed in this hearing, there's a great amount of power that school districts already hold over their students when it comes to potentially restricting or incentivizing them to do PSEO. And I'm of the belief right now that some of the provisions that are in this law might grant districts more or additional authority to continue further discouraging students from participating in PSEO or getting the most benefit that they can from that program itself. I think Mr. Nathan just eloquently pointed out that a lot of websites still, on school districts that is, omit information regarding PSEO and things like that, so these gaps already persist as it already is. So continuing to provide options for school districts to suppress the amount of credits earned by students is not necessarily in the benefit of our youth and our next generation. I would certainly say that before we adopt these lines, there certainly needs to be an opportunity for discussion to see whether or not it's truly helping students as much. I would argue it isn't. And then, as well as the fact that I think Ms. Handlin had pointed out that it creates a new process for appeals with the MDE commissioner, and I would say to some extent that there's not sufficient enough evidence that would point in the direction that the commissioner of the MDE specifically is a completely unbiased arbiter of whether or not college credits or college courses should be evaluated for equivalent credit in high school. And I guess one final thought I would mention too is anytime a student is enrolling in the PSEO program, they're usually taking, or not usually, they're almost always taking college level courses, and denying students high school credit for courses that are both in name and in application more advanced than those high school courses should be a no-brainer, right? I think whenever somebody such as myself from Eden Prairie, which is a district that promotes PSEO and really allows students to grow in that space, identifies an opportunity for challenges and advancement, those opportunities are always seized and always encouraged. So I think that's definitely the direction we want to go in with regards to this bill as well. But with that, I appreciate the opportunity to have this conversation and certainly hearing the perspective of everyone here. And thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Chair Cwodzinski and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to speak to SF 3870. My name is Laura Jean. I am a manager of parent training and advocacy and the public policy coordinator at Pacer Center. Pacer Center helps families navigate special education and other complex systems, discover assistive technology, and access bullying prevention resources. We receive calls every single day about students experiencing bullying. Often they are students with disabilities, but not always. However, students with disabilities are disproportionately impacted by bullying and exclusionary discipline. We support the inclusion of language under supportive interventions that require schools to address the unmet needs of children who bully, as well as those who are harmed by being bullied. The addition of these interventions moves us closer to prevention and creating and supporting safe school environments. The new language will help address root causes of the behavior, support students building critical skills in empathy, conflict resolution, and healthy relationship development, ensuring family engagement, providing the mental health support students need to restore safety and well-being, and explicitly prohibits disproportionate or discriminatory implementation. At the same time, this committee is considering policies that would expand or roll back limits on harmful practices around suspension and restrictive procedures. Pacer Center feels those two approaches are in conflict. We ask the committee to adopt and fully fund supportive interventions as the primary strategy and avoid pairing this provision with rollbacks that expand exclusionary discipline and restrictive procedures. We also ask you to invest in implementation, including expanding access to school-based mental health services, access to training in de-escalation and restorative practices, and time and staffing to implement interventions effectively. We need to ensure accountability, including clear guidance on what qualifies as a supportive intervention, data tracking, including disability status, and oversight to ensure equitable implementation. If we are serious about reducing harm, we must fund and implement the approaches that prevent it. It is time we stop trying to return to an imagined past of what schools used to be and start supporting schools for the future we want to live in. A future where all children have access to education, where all teachers and staff have the resources they need to foster safe, supportive schools. This starts with the supportive interventions outlined in SF 3870. Thank you.
Members, before we adjourn, any comments or questions for some summation?
Mr. Chair, I just figured out, it's that whole section that they were referring to, the whole PSEO section. So we're off a page, but there are points that we'll take in, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Okay, thank you. Thank you all participants and spectators of the audience today. I would like to encourage ed policy members to send amendments ahead of time so for all of us, the whole committee, to review. Wednesday's going to be a great day, so hope to see all of you back on Wednesday, and with that, we're adjourned.